Hey guys, it's Sarah. So today I'm going to be doing a full face of my most expensive makeup products. This is kind of the sequel to my full face of my cheapest makeup products, which I will link below if you missed that one. But on that video, a lot of you guys requested that I do the same with my most expensive makeup. So I'm really excited to do this. You know, if you watch my channel, you know I really focus a lot more on drugstore makeup and kind of affordable makeup. And I really don't focus too much on high-end products, but I do have some high-end products in my collection that I really like. So I thought it would be fun to kind of switch gears today and talk about some expensive products, kind of test them out and see if they are better than my cheaper makeup products. I am really curious to see if we end up liking this look better than my cheap makeup look. I do have a feeling that I'm at least gonna like the base better, just because I know I like these base products better than the ones we used in that other video. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm really excited to see what we can come up with. So for primer, I don't actually have any high-end primers. My most expensive drugstore primer is the Ulta Hydrating Face Primer. I actually have the mini size that I got as a free gift with purchase, but the full size of this is $18, which in my book is pretty expensive for, especially for kind of like a drugstore brand. It's funny, I actually thought that the NYX glass, what is it called? The NYX High Glass Primer would be my most expensive. That one is $17. Then I remembered that I had this one and I did remember it being pretty pricey for the full size, but I do like this primer a lot. I actually saw that at least today, the day that I'm filming this is half off, it's $9. As is a lot of the other Ulta brand products, if not all of them, I'm not sure. But anyway, if you've been wanting this product or any other Ulta brand makeup products, now is the time to get them. But yeah, this is just kind of a basic hydrating primer. It sort of feels like a gel lotion sort of consistency, and I do really enjoy it. I feel like it works really well at just kind of giving my skin an extra layer of hydration. It's definitely not a luminous primer, like it doesn't have shimmer in it or any kind of pearly finish to it. It's just hydrating. So that kind of hydrated glow that you're seeing is just coming from the hydration of the product itself. So yeah, it is a really nice face primer. $18 seems a little steep, but I've heard this might be kind of a dupe for the Too Faced Hangover Primer, and so if you're wanting a cheaper alternative to that, this one might be a good one to check out. And Ulta's always having sales on their makeup products, so I would highly recommend getting it on sale. So for foundation, the cheapest foundation product I have is actually a tinted moisturizer from First Aid Beauty. This is their Ultra Repair Tinted Moisturizer. I have the shade Ivory, so this isn't gonna be like a, you know, full coverage foundation or anything. It's definitely a light coverage product. This is actually maybe only the 4th time that I'm using this, so I don't know it super well, but the few times I have tried it, I have really liked it. It feels very just kind of like smoothing on my skin, and I like how quickly it blends out. A lot of people told me that when they tried this, it oxidized on them really badly, and I have not had that problem. And somebody else actually told me that this had been reformulated recently, so I think maybe this is the reformulated version. I have not had any problems with it oxidizing, so hopefully that was a problem with like the old formula and not this one. It does have SPF 30, and the sunscreen ingredients in it are chemical filters, and it does contain octinoxate, which I know some people do try to avoid that because it's not considered reef safe. That is one of the ingredients that they banned in Hawaii, so definitely be aware of that. This was actually sent to me, and I didn't even realize that it had that in it before it was sent to me, but just wanted to let you know that in case that is a concern for you. But I really like the finish of this, and I feel like the best time to use a hydrating face primer or like a glowy face primer is when you're using a light coverage, either tinted moisturizer, BB cream, or just a light coverage foundation, because you're really gonna still see that glow showing through, as opposed to with like a medium or full coverage foundation, it's gonna be covering up the primer that you put on underneath. So this type of product still really allows it to kind of shine through. Already liking the base a lot more than I did in the cheap makeup products video. But yeah, that is a really nice tinted moisturizer. This is $28, so that is definitely my most expensive base product. Then for concealer, the only high-end concealer I have is the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer. This is $29. I have the shade Snow. You know, I've kind of talked about how I was a little disappointed in this product when I first tried it, but honestly, the more I've used it, the more I do like it. So don't get me wrong. I mean, I do think this is a good concealer. I just have drugstore concealers that I feel like are just as good for the same amount of coverage. I really like the Jordana Take Cover concealer. I think I like that one even better than this one. Basically, my gripe with it was that it says it's super coverage, and to me it's just not full coverage, but you do get a nice finish with it, so I can't complain too much. It's not a bad product. I did have a very hard time finding a good shade of this though. I've heard a lot of people have had the same problem, so it's kind of a tricky shade range, I think. And it's an incredible value too. I mean, $29 is pricey, but this is huge. This is half of an ounce. Is that right? Yeah. So, I mean, huge for a concealer. That's like double the amount that you normally get. So even though it's more expensive up front than drugstore concealers, it's a better value than a lot of drugstore concealers. So keep that in mind. I mean, if you are willing to spend $29 up front, it's gonna last you forever. Yeah, I mean, very decent coverage. I still wouldn't say it's full, but I'll take it, you know. Dang, I look really dewy. Really dewy. This combo is nice. Okay, so again with face powder, I don't have a high-end face powder, but my most expensive powder from the drugstore is the Pacifica Crystal Rays Luminous Translucent Setting Powder. I actually just reviewed this in my last speed reviews video, so I'll link that if you want to hear my full thoughts on it, but it definitely is luminous. It's got some kind of shimmery particles to it that are almost like an iridescent pink. So I'm gonna use this for my under eye setting powder and just for my face. Yeah, it has a sheen to it that's kind of odd to me. But some people said that the way I described it, it sounded like a dupe for either like the Bare Minerals loose setting powder or the Lancome one, I think. So I don't know, it could be a dupe for something. It's definitely a very unique product. My face feels tacky right now, so I am looking forward to getting a little bit of setting powder. So yeah, this powder definitely sets your makeup down, but it doesn't make it feel or look super powdery and heavy. The only thing is that kind of weird, like pinkish sheen that it has is a little odd. Like, it's not always the look that I'm going for. So then for bronzer, I also don't have a high-end bronzer in my collection. The most expensive bronzer that I have is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Now, Physicians Formula is no longer cruelty-free, but it's by far the most expensive bronzer. All my other bronzers are under $10, so I wanted to go ahead and use this one. This is actually at full price $16, which is quite expensive for a drugstore product. So this is, I've talked about it before how I feel like it's kind of overhyped, but it's also not a bad product either. I just don't think it's anything that special. So then for blush, I do have a very expensive high-end blush from kind of a lesser known brand. This is like a more indie brand. The brand is called Terre, and this is their mineral blush in the shade Rosy. It's actually a loose blush, and this blush retails for $38, so this is definitely my most expensive blush. And I really do like this blush. I really should wear it more often, but it's just kind of a slightly glowy, neutral pink blush, and it looks really just kind of classic and pretty. I think the only reason I don't reach for it often is just because it's a loose blush. But it's a great, just kind of like universally flattering shade. It's not too warm, it's not too cool, it's kind of just right in the middle. Then I have an equally expensive highlighter from Aether Beauty. This is also $38. And this is their new Supernova Crushed Diamond Highlighter in Pink Diamond Dust. I really like this highlighter. It's kind of like a rose gold color, and it is beautiful. It's kind of a sparkly highlighter, which I know is definitely not everybody's cup of tea, but I actually really like it. I feel like it gives my cheeks a nice kind of wet look, and as long as I don't apply too much, it's really pretty. So I do have an affiliate code with Aether for 20% off. So if you've been kind of eyeing this or any of the other products, I'll have that on the screen here and also linked down below. But I think it only works on their website and not on Sephora, but they are also sold on Sephora. And the cool thing about this brand is that they are striving to be as zero waste as possible, or as low waste as possible. So all of their packaging is cardboard and recyclable. They also eliminated mirrors in their products since mirrors are not recyclable. So it is just kind of a really cool company that I'm interested to try more from. I know they have some beautiful eyeshadow palettes too. I think they're very mindful about the ingredients that they use and the sustainability aspect. So I mean, that does come at a price. So that's why their products are not cheap, but I do think they're really cool, and the packaging is adorable. You can kind of see, I feel like the shade of this is kind of similar to Champagne Pop from Becca, which, by the way, I also have that, and the full size of that is also $38, so the same price as this. I was just kind of in the mood to use this one today because I feel like I use Champagne Pop a lot, but doesn't it just give like a really nice kind of wet look to my cheeks? As long as I don't apply too much, because there have been times where I like piled it on because I can get kind of heavy-handed sometimes, and that was just a little bit too much sparkle for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyelids now. The only eyelid primer I have is the Ulta Matte Eye Primer in the shade Nude, and this is $12, so also not like super cheap drugstore price. And then usually I like to let that kind of set for a couple minutes and fill in my brows in the meantime. So also my only brow product, or brow filling in product, is the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in Taupe, which is $21, so definitely kind of a high-end price tag. But this is another example of a really good value product that does cost more upfront, but it's gonna last so long. You don't use that much at a time, and so it lasts a lot longer than any like brow pencil. And I've heard people say that this one doesn't dry out as quickly as some drugstore options, so that's another reason why I feel like it may be worth the higher price. Okay, so brows are done. I'm not gonna do brow gel today because the only high-end brow gel I have is the ABH Dip Brow Gel in Taupe, and that one I don't like using alongside a pomade or after I've already filled in my brows because it's already too dark as it is, and I don't want to screw up this look. Like I just don't feel like I need to use a brow gel. So for eyeshadow, my most expensive eyeshadow palette is the Shared Planet Polar Bear palette. This is also one of those kind of lesser known indie brands, and I feel like I have not been using this palette enough lately. I used it a lot when I first got it. It's definitely kind of a wintry palette to me. I mean, it's called the Polar Bear palette, so I feel like it's just kind of wintry, but that's silly. I mean, you could totally use it any time of year. So I'm trying to figure out what kind of look I want to do today. I want to keep it kind of neutral, maybe a little bit plummy or mauve-y. So I'm going to start out with Cub, which is such a great starter shade. It's just a great like mauve-y taupe that I really like to just lay down in my crease before I do anything else. That is like my favorite light crease shade. It's my favorite. It's just perfectly rosy. And I forgot to say, but this palette is $48, so it is the most expensive one I have. This is probably gonna end up being a very like basic neutral look. I don't think I'm gonna dip into either of the blues today. Just not really in the mood for blue today. I think I will now put some of this nice dark reddish brown in my outer corner. The shadows in this palette are interesting. They're very different from what you would find. I use ABH as an example a lot because I just have a lot of experience with their shadows. I have 4 of their palettes, so I feel like I just know their shadow formula better than a lot of brands. This is very different from that kind of a formula. The shadows are very kind of hard pressed into the pan, and so you're not really getting any like powdery kick up when you dip into these shades. When you swatch these mattes, they almost feel creamy, yet I don't know, it's hard to describe. They're a different texture than anything else. But even though they're kind of hard packed into the pan, I feel like they're still like easy to work with and blendable. and you're not really getting much fallout. So it's just a different kind of formula than a lot of the palettes that I have. I'm just kind of going over that some more with Cub, the lighter shade, and just blending a lot. I think I will dip into that again. Okay, then I'm going to take this kind of mauve-y taupe shade here called Prism and pack that onto my lid. I'm getting a little fallout with that shade. And then back with my blending brush, just gonna blend that out. Yeah, so it's just kind of a plain but pretty, kind of sultry, rosy, smoky eye, and I really like it. I like that this palette combines rosy tones, which are my favorite, with some like icy blue and cool tone colors. I just think that's really unique, and it's definitely unlike anything else I have in my collection. Next, I'm just going to take some of Icy in my inner corner, then a little more of Cub on my lower lash line, kind of smoked out. Yeah, that's a pretty look. It's just simple, smoky, my kind of tones. Yes, love it. So for mascara, of the two mascaras that I have, the most expensive one is the Flower Lash Warrior. It's $10. This is a longtime favorite of mine. Very spiky brush, and it's just very lengthening and volumizing, and it just does everything that I want it to do. I will say though, the brush can be kind of messy. That's the only thing about this, because it's got kind of long bristles and it's just big, so it can be hard to just be precise with it. That's why I do kind of like the e.l.f. Keep Your Curl a little bit better than this, just because the brush is a little smaller, but it still has all the same things that I like about this, just with a smaller brush. That one is half the price of this one too. And I'm also skipping liner today just because I don't have any. All my liners are like $5 or less, and I don't really feel like this look needs a liner, but it really makes my lashes just look so long and fluttery, yet volumized at the same time, but not clumpy. It's just such a good mascara. Okay, so my most expensive lipsticks, I have two. It's a tie between Charlotte Tilbury and Terre. Terre was also the brand of blush that I used. These are both $34. I have the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in Pillow Talk and then the Terre matte lipstick in Napa Valley. Both of these are two of my just all-time favorite lip colors. But I think for this look, Napa Valley is like a berry red, which I think could go with this. But Charlotte Tilbury is like this muted mauve-y pink that I think would go really nicely with this eye look. So I'm gonna go with that. And I also have a lip liner that goes really well with this lipstick from Urban Decay. This is their Glide On Lip Pencil in Manic. And it's also just like a really pretty rosy pink, just slightly deeper than the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. And so they make a really great pair. And the lip liner is $21, so that is definitely my most expensive lip liner. Both of these were actually gifted to me by a subscriber named Judy, and I love both of them so much. They're just the perfect shade of like rosy pink. Okay, so that is the full face of my most expensive makeup products. I went ahead and calculated the total cost of all of these products combined, and the total actually shocked me. Like, I audibly gasped when I calculated the total number. $324.98, $325. Wow. I know that's really not that much. Like, in the scheme of things, like, it could be way more expensive. Like, if I had done a full face of like Pat McGrath or, you know, a really expensive luxury brand, Charlotte Tilbury, it probably would have been like $600 total. But still, my full face of cheapest makeup cost around $84 total. So big difference. And overall, the main products that I felt like were so much better were the base products. But I also have drugstore-based products that I like. They're just not my cheapest ones. So it's interesting to see. I mean, I love this look. I really do. Like, the lip products are beautiful. The eye look is so pretty. The base is like the perfect level of glow for me. I actually loved every single product that I used today, except for maybe, I'm not in love with the Pacifica loose setting powder. It's interesting, but not my absolute favorite. But everything else, and the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer is just kind of whatever to me. But everything else, I love. Like, I really love. So it was fun to just allow myself to use all of my expensive products all at once. I feel like a lot of these products I sort of treat as like special occasion makeup, which is silly. I mean, every day is a special occasion, and there's no reason to hoard expensive makeup and only use it for special occasions. So yeah, it was nice to just kind of like let myself have some fun with some luxurious products. Let me know which look you liked better, this one or the cheap makeup look. I really liked the eye look and like the cheek products for that video, so it was really just the base of that one that I did not like. But yeah, let me know which one you preferred, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun doing it. If you did enjoy it, definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up so that I know you liked it. And if you're not already subscribed, I would love to see you again soon. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and sometimes a bonus video on Sunday. So feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed and you'd like to come back for more. But that is all for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.